Hi Greedy 3Ders, if you've ever looked at a resin print and wondered how people achieve that incredible level of detail, you're not alone. Compared to FDM printing as example, the quality can be absolutely stunning. Sharp edges, tiny details and beautifully smooth surfaces. Resin printing sure can produce results that are difficult to achieve any other way, but there's another side to it. Spend a few minutes browsing forums or Facebook groups and you'll notice a common theme. People aren't usually complaining about the printers themselves. Now, modern resin printers have become incredibly capable and are much easier to use than they were just maybe a few years ago. Instead, most of the frustration comes from everything surrounding the printer, like choosing the right resin, finding the correct print settings, working out whether your supports are good enough, and trying to make head or tail as to why a print worked yesterday and suddenly fails today. Then once the printer's finally finished, you've still got to wash it, you've still got to cure it and hope that you've done those correctly. So today I want to answer a simple question. Why does resin printing still feel so complicated, and what actually changes when more of the workflow becomes connected? Before we get to start, I just want to be completely transparent here. This video has been sponsored by HeyGears, but as always, every opinion you'll hear is my own. They haven't written the script, they haven't told me what to say. My goal is simply to compare two different approaches to resin printing and show where each workflow makes life easier and where it still relies on your own judgment. To do that, I'm going to print exactly the same model using two very different workflows. The first uses a traditional resin printer where almost every decision is left to the user, left to you. The second uses the HeyGears RS Turbo together with its Blueprint Studio, its HeyGears wash and cure stations, and following what HeyGears calls its validated material workflow. Now, this isn't going to be about deciding which printer produces the best looking model. Instead, I want to compare everything that happens before and after you press the print button. How many decisions do you have to make? How many settings do you need to fiddle with? And how much research is involved before you can confidently start a print? Because I think that's where the biggest difference really lies. So let's start with a traditional resin printing workflow. The first thing I want to say is there's absolutely nothing wrong with this approach. In fact, it's the workflow many experienced users actually prefer because it gives them complete control over every stage of the process. The trade-off, of course, is a bit like Spider-Man. With complete control comes complete responsibility, or something like that anyway. And before you even press that print button, inevitably there are a lot more decisions to make. Now, rather than looking at dozens of individual settings, I think these decisions can be grouped into 5 main areas. Firstly, maybe your resin profiles and exposure, and that first decision is choosing your actual resin. Whether you go for a standard resin, an ABS-like resin, a flexible one, a tough one, or an engineering grade material, depends entirely on what you're trying to print. Once you've chosen your resin of choice, the next step is to select a print profile. Now, a print profile is simply a collection of settings that tells the printer how to cure that specific resin. It includes things like exposure times, lift speeds, bottom layers, and several other settings that all work together to produce a successful print. If you're using an official resin from the same manufacturer as your printer, there's a really good chance those settings have already been developed and tested for you. That gives you a solid starting point. However, many people choose third-party resins because they offer a wider choice of maybe colours or different material properties, or simply because they're cheaper, and that's where things become a little bit more complicated. To dial in their settings, you might need to download maybe a community profile, search online to see what settings other people are using effectively, or even create your own profile from scratch. Sometimes the very first thing you'll print is not going to be the model you want to make, it's a calibration print. We've all been there. Then another one, and then another one, and maybe one after that. But it can quickly turn into a cycle of making small adjustments, running together, test and repeat the whole process until you're happy with the results. Even then, a successful calibration print doesn't necessarily guarantee your actual model will print successfully, because exposure is only part of that equation. Because once you've got your resin profile sorted, the next step is preparing the model itself. Should it be printed flat, directly on the build plate maybe? Or would it benefit from being tilted? And if so, how much do you tilt it by? Which orientation also allows the resin to drain properly, and could that orientation create excessive suction forces while printing? These are the enemies of a successful print. Then there are the supports. Most modern slicers can of course generate supports automatically, but experienced users rarely leave them exactly as they are. Instead, they'll check for unsupported islands, weak overhangs, and any areas where the model could detach from the supports during printing. Now, sometimes they'll remove supports completely, often they'll add more, and sometimes they'll completely change the orientation and start from scratch again. It's often not unusual to spend longer preparing a resin model than it actually takes to slice it. The next factor is one that catches a lot of people, especially beginners, out by surprise: temperature. Resins behave very differently depending on how warm it is. A printer that worked perfectly fine during the summer can suddenly start producing failures in the middle of winter without a single print setting being changed. That's because colder resin becomes thicker, more viscous, and flows differently, which affects how each new layer forms and cures. It's just another variable that many new users don't even realise they're working against. And because so many settings influence one another, it's very easy to start changing several things at once in an attempt to fix the problem, but unfortunately that often makes diagnosing the real cause even more difficult. So that's a fairly traditional, typical resin workflow. There's nothing wrong with it, and for many experienced users, it is exactly how they prefer to work. But now, let's prepare exactly the same model using this time the HeyGears RS Turbo and see what actually changes. The first thing you'll notice is that the overall process feels very different, not because resin printing has suddenly become fully automated, but because many of the decisions we've just talked about have already been validated within the HeyGears workflow itself. You still have to choose your resin, of course you do, the resin that's appropriate for your job. But once you've selected that HeyGears material, one of their many materials within the Blueprint Studio, the software already knows exactly which resin you're using and its properties. Rather than searching online for exposure settings or downloading community profiles, every single official HeyGears material has its own validated print profile built within the software itself. That means you're starting from a known tested baseline instead of spending time trying to find one yourself. And for someone who's just getting started within resin printing, maybe a beginner, that's a significant advantage. You are no longer asking yourself, are these exposure settings right? Do I need to run calibration prints, or what can I do to trust these settings? These questions have already been answered in the HeyGears labs. Again, this isn't about replacing knowledge or the fun of 3D printing. It's about removing many of the repeated decisions you have to make every time you start that new project. Now, I talked earlier about how calibration prints often become the very first thing you print. With validated HeyGears materials workflow, that's no longer necessary when you're using supported HeyGears materials, because the printer, the resin, the slicer have all been designed and tested to work seamlessly together. The Blueprint Studio already applies the correct print parameters for the selected material you've chosen. Temperature is another variable the RS Turbo helps manage automatically. The printer uses its built-in temperature sensor to monitor the environment, and if the heated resin tank is installed, it can automatically start warming that resin when the temperature is too low. Another variable that's quietly taken care of in the background, and one less thing for you to stress over. Then we get to support. Support generation is another area where the workflow feels notably different. Whether a traditional slicer automatically generated supports are usually just a starting point. As I've said, experienced users usually adjust support placement, add more and take them away when needed, and change the orientation completely, and then maybe start again. Blueprint Studio takes a slightly different approach. If you want or need it to, it has a function called one-click slice. This feature analyzes the geometry of the entire model before deciding how it should be positioned. It automatically calculates the orientation, generates the supports, applies the appropriate slicing parameters, and behind the scenes it's evaluating things like peel forces, cross-sectional area, things you don't need to worry about, and how the model is likely to behave throughout the printing process. And these are exactly the kind of decisions that experienced users have learned through years of trial and error, something a beginner doesn't have. The difference here is that much of the work is now handled automatically. Now, that doesn't mean you should simply press print and walk away without just taking a cursory look. I'd still recommend checking that final orientation, as the software doesn't know which surfaces are more important to you. Aesthetically, that is. For example, if you're printing a highly detailed miniature, you may prefer support marks to be hidden on the back of the model rather than across the face or another highly detailed area. Automation is here to do the heavy lifting, but still your own judgment is an important part of the process. And I think that's one of the biggest strengths of this workflow. It's assisting you, not replacing you. The validated HeyGears material workflow removes many of these variables. That doesn't mean failed prints can never happen. Every resin printer is capable of failing, of course it is. But when fewer settings are changing between prints, identifying the cause becomes much simpler. And if all else fails whilst using HeyGears Resin's Blueprint Studio gives you access to the HeyGears technical support. If you're struggling with a particular print, you can even upload the project file itself directly through the software for the HeyGears engineers to have a look at and give you some feedback, rather than trying to explain the problem over email or search endlessly through forums. They themselves can see exactly how the print was prepared and help identify what might have gone wrong. It's another feature that helps take some of that frustration out of troubleshooting, and that is again where consistency really does help. So both printers have now finished printing exactly the same model, and at this point you might think the hard part is over, but in reality resin printing is only about halfway through the process, because every print still has uncured resin on its surface. So before it's ready to use, it needs to be washed and then fully cured. And just like preparing the print, there's different ways of approaching that part of the workflow too. How long should you wash it for? And is that in water or is it in IPA? If you don't wash it for long enough, uncured resin can remain trapped in fine details or recessed areas. Leave it in the wash for too long, and depending on the resin you're using, you can start to affect that surface finish. Once the model is clean, next decision is of course the curing. How long should you cure it for? Again, every resin is slightly different. Some standard resins cure relatively quickly, but engineering materials, well, they require longer curing times, and some advanced resins even benefit from being heated during the curing process to achieve their intended mechanical properties. So once again, you're looking up recommendations, you're checking data sheets, you're searching forums, or simply relying on your own experience, and in a lot of cases winging it. If you've been resin printing for years, that's just part of the process, we know that. But if you're buying your very first resin printer, it's another set of decisions you need to learn before you can consistently produce good, reliable results. And now we come back to HeyGears workflow. Let's look at exactly the same stage using the RS Turbo workflow. Because the print was prepared in Blueprint Studio, the material information stays with the job throughout the process. Rather than treating the wash station and the curing station as completely separate pieces of equipment, they're both part of the same validated HeyGears material workflow. Once the print has finished, that job can now be sent wirelessly to the wash station. The recommended washing program is already linked to the material you've selected, and after washing, the cure station works in exactly the same way. You send the file to it via Blueprint Studio wirelessly, and the recommended curing program is already associated with that material. And if it benefits from heat-assisted curing, the system automatically applies the appropriate program. Instead of remembering different wash times, different curing times, or researching every new resin you use, these decisions have again already been validated within the workflow. Once again, this isn't about removing knowledge, it's about removing repetition and removing the chance to make mistakes. So looking at all of this, I think something becomes very clear very quickly. The biggest difference isn't necessarily the final print quality, because as I've alluded to, modern resin printers are capable of producing excellent results. The real difference is the amount of experience, preparation, decision making and troubleshooting that happens before and after the print itself. For beginners or anyone who wants a smoother, more user-friendly workflow, the HeyGears approach takes away much of the uncertainty, replacing it with confidence. One thing I do want to mention though, because I think it's important, is that choosing the HeyGears workflow doesn't mean you're locked into using it forever. The RS Turbo now also supports what HeyGears call open material mode. So if you're someone who enjoys experimenting with third-party resins, creating your own profiles, or fine-tune every setting, you now still have the flexibility. Of course, that is if you want it. There are really two ways that you can use the RS Turbo. You can use the validated HeyGears material workflow, where the setup has already been tested and optimized for you, or you can switch to open material mode and take full advantage, take full control yourself. I actually like the fact that that option is there. It means the printer can grow with you. If you're completely new to resin printing, it provides a much smoother transition, a much smoother starting point. Then as your confidence grows, you can, if you want to, begin experimenting with different materials and your own settings without needing to move to a different printer. And after genuinely using both workflows for many years. I don't think the biggest difference is automation. I think it's confidence. With a traditional workflow, you are responsible for almost every decision pre and post print. And even though none of these decisions are especially difficult, when you put them all together, they can make resin printing feel far more intimidating than it really needs to be. The validated HeyGears material workflow doesn't remove the need to understand resin printing. You still need to think about things like model orientation. You should still inspect your supports, and you still need to understand why things work the way they do. But what it does give you is it removes many of the repeated decisions that every project normally begins with. And if you change to a new HeyGears resin type, instead of rebuilding the whole workflow from scratch every time you can, you just press print with far more confidence, knowing that a lot of this work has already been done for you behind the scenes by the experts. The printer, the resin and the software have all been designed to work together, so you're not constantly questioning whether you've missed a setting or made a wrong choice. Instead, you can spend less time troubleshooting and more time enjoying your successful prints, more time enjoying your hobby. If you've enjoyed the video, I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments below. Where do you think the biggest learning curve is in resin 3D printing? Where does it come from? Is it finding the right settings? Is it supporting your models? Or is it everything that happens after the print has finished? Is it the cleaning? Is it the curing? As always, you'll find links to everything featured in this video down in the description, along with any discounts that are currently available. If you choose to use those links, it really helps support the channel at, of course, no extra cost to you. And it allows me to keep making these reviews and comparisons for you guys. A huge thank you as well to everyone supporting Greedy 3D over on Patreon. Your support genuinely makes these videos possible. Finally, a big thank you to HeyGears for sponsoring this video. If you've been following the channel for a while, you will know that these machines aren't things I've just started using for this review. They've become my go-to resin printers for many of my own projects over the last couple of years, which is exactly why I wanted to make this comparison. If you check my previous videos, you'll see me using HeyGears machine time and time again because it works. Rather than simply looking at print quality, I wanted to explore what a different connected workflow actually makes to a day-to-day use. And as always, everything you've seen in this video is based on my own experience and my own opinion. Thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, guys.